Well, good morning everybody. Hope your day is starting out well. If you're watching this video, it probably is. We have a Ford SUV. What kind of SUV is this?
Ford Escape.
There you go. So what are we doing to this? Well, let's take a look. He's in the back of the car, so my guess is he's doing some kind of a backup camera. Would I be correct?
Yep.
If memory serves, we're doing a backup camera and a rear view mirror replacement. So he's got issues backing up. He doesn't want to replace the radio, which I can't blame him. The kid's kind of silly and he really doesn't need anything other than to see in the past. So all worried about is replacing this. And to do said task today, we're doing some fine EchoMaster products. So we're going with this guy right here. This is the MM4320. So we're doing this guy here, which is the CAM LP1 camera. So this is designed to go around the license plate. All right, so let's get this guy out of the box. All right, so we have a full-size mirror. The little screen is right here. It's got a standard size clip and a little connector. We have a bracket to hide the wiring on the window. We have a plate, the Allen key, and of course the wiring harness. Got two video inputs, so you can probably do a front and rear camera if you want. All right, let's get the factory mirror off and get this party started, shall we? All right, so the first thing we want to do is get this mirror off. To do that, we're going to use an Allen key. We're just going to come up underneath here. And what we want to do, there's a metal plate here in the window. You want to slide this Allen key up, kind of pry up a little bit. And as you're doing that, just kind of wiggle this. There's some teeth on the bottom of the mirror that have to clear this place. So just stick this up, just kind of pull down like this, and then just wiggle the mirror off. That's how you get the mirror off. Now our mirror has a little Allen key that it comes with. You could use this to take the mirror off. It's just going to go into here like this. It's going to loosen and tighten up this little screw that's on the back side that's going to screw into this so our mirror won't fall off. Kind of tip the mirror up so that it clears the Allen key. And there again, you don't have to Gorilla tighten it, just tighten it enough so that the mirror doesn't move. Now this does bring the mirror down a little lower than the factory mirror, which is okay because it makes it a little bit easier to see. So now we need to run our wire across the headliner, down the side here, and into this area and find an accessory to power it. Alright, so it's that time again to tap the reverse light wire. Some of you may or may not know how to do it, so we're going to show you. First step is find out where the actual reverse light is. Because if you look at this car over here, you know, most of the time reverse is white. Well, this has a white right here, but that's not the reverse light. The reverse light's actually up here on the door, right here. This one. Yep. That's the reverse light. So make sure you test that first. Now what we want to do is take our digital multimeter and test the wire. So you want to set your meter to DC, which is the V with the line with the dots below it. You want to take your black probe, which is ground, and go ahead and go to ground or any metal in the car. And then you want to have someone go ahead and put the car in reverse for you. And then use the red probe to probe for power. And it should say anywhere between 12 to 11 volts. Now go ahead and put it back in park, and the meter should go dead. Now you know which one is your reverse trigger. Go ahead and tap that. Alright, so Fernando just brought over our camera wires. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of lume to this. So we're bringing everything to this central point. We have our accessory ran here. The easiest place to get the accessory in this particular car was because it had a power inverter. Is at the power inverter inside the center console. It's located about here. You can tap into it. It has an accessory. The cigarette lighter does not, so can't use that. What we want to do is zip tie up these wires. We're going to have to tuck them up here into the dash. And like we said, this has two RCAs. The video 1 input we're not going to use. We're going to go ahead and put some tape on that so that it doesn't bang around inside there. Then we'll go ahead and zip tie that also up so that it's not loose. And we'll go ahead and put some quick disconnects on our accessory wire. Plug that in. So the last thing we want to do is ground it. All right, at this point you want to just test it real quick before you put it back together. All right, we're all good. Let's go ahead and put this back together and then we'll show it to you guys. Alright, so here's how the camera mounted on there. There again, this camera allows you to keep your trim panel. So if you really like your trim panel, then you're good to go with this camera. So we have the mirror. And there you go. You have your reverse image in your mirror. Alright guys, this one's done. On to the next one. And the hits keep rolling on. That's right, we're dishing them out here 5-star like pizza. What kind of car is this?
A Ford Focus.
There you go. What?
Focus, people.
Focus, I can't see. Anyways, getting a double din radio install, not one of my favorites because the dash is kind of a pain in the butt. You'll see, you get to go along on the journey with us. So let's get going. Radio swap, Ford Focus. Here we come. All right, so here's the radio. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Ford radios, it has these 4 holes right here. And there's a special set of U keys that you use. They're not that special. I mean, you can use 2 pick tools on each side or bend some coat hanger. The nice thing about the U keys, these things right here, is they are a little bit more rigid than just, let's say, a coat hanger. But look at this volume knob. What the? It's like, wow, what happened to that? Go ahead and get that radio out, Fernando.
Just like butter.
What these U's do is you'll see this guy right here. And as you push down on this, it releases the clip, which allows the radio to slide out. What happens is sometimes these clips get bent up too far and then the pins will go up underneath and it can become a real hassle. So when you're putting these in, go slow and just kind of you'll feel them click when you put it in because it's going to grab these little spots right here. Once the radio's out, there's 4 7mm screws that need to be removed. Once you remove those, then this panel will come free. Now there's a clip here, there's a clip here, and there's a clip down here, and they look just like these clips here, and they do fling off, so try to keep an eye out for them. Now what you want to do then is just kind of slide this guy out, unplug this harness here, and unplug all these down here. Then what you'll get to is these guys. These are the air conditioning control wires that go over to the side of the dash. Now go ahead and remove this knob and this knob. They just pull off, and pull that screw and this one over here. And they just turn and will pop off. Now you can take this over to the bench because you're going to need to grind this piece here, as well as go ahead and remove these metal brackets. You got to stick a pick tool here in the top and just kind of pry them off. You're going to sand these flat too, so once you get these off, just cut those flat and do it on both sides. All right, so that's the fun of just getting the radio out, getting it prepped in order to put the radio in. Let's take this over, start sanding. Yeah. All right, so the first thing we want to do is remove this guy here. And once we've done that, we want to go ahead and sand this flat. There's this area here that's lower than these. We want to make everything this level. Now be careful when you're doing that. There's a couple springs here, so just be careful. All right, now what we need to do is, as I said, sand this, sand that. All right, so the kit we're using for this is the American International, which just so happens to be best kits, the FMK 566. And what they are is basically just some little wingies that are gonna go to the side of the radio. All right, so you have a right and a left side. Now, to put this in, you're gonna need to use the tapered screws. This is the typical flathead screw. You want this screw that's got a little beveled edge to it because this has to be perfectly flat when you screw this in. All right, now what we want to do is test fit it, make sure it slides through the hole. And also make sure that this will go back in. Go ahead and pull this back out. Let's go ahead and screw this back into the kit. Now, the bad thing about this kit is once that radio locks into place, because this has to go into the car and these have to screw in. So once this snaps into place and you slide that radio in, it's really, really hard to get that radio back out. If you do have to get it out, you're going to use something like this. This is a painter's knife. And what you have to do is carefully pry this into the sides to release these clips. So it has to come in here like this, and you just have to wedge it in there. It's really hard to do, and chances are good you are going to scratch this a little bit. You know, you could put some tape on there and hope for the best. All right, let's go ahead and get this into the car and get it all plugged back in. One of the other things about this car is unique is this harness right here. It doesn't look like a normal Ford harness. Most Ford harnesses are exactly the same length. This one isn't. So when you buy this harness, which is a standard 1770 harness, people automatically assume it's not going to plug in. Plus, like, this one is black, but the black doesn't go to the black. The black goes to the yellow, and it plugs in, and then the gray goes here. But see, as you notice, there's an open spot here. So this is why a lot of people will bring this harness back and be like, you sold me the wrong harness. Then I'll have to walk out there and go, here you go. And you always get the same thing. Oh. All right, so like I said, this is only going in once, so you want to test it at this point, make sure it works. That's right, this guy wants a CD player. All right, cool, we got sound. Gently push it in. Ah, when you hear the clicking, yep, there you go. Go ahead and remove. Oh wait, what kind of car is this again?
Focus, Dan.
Oh yeah. All right, so your focus is done. One thing I wanted to show you has nothing to do with this. I find it funny how people collect stuff in their cars, mainly like empty water bottles and stuff like that, but this one takes the cake. Check this out. That thing is packed. I have no idea why anybody would do that unless they like the cigarette air freshener. I mean, essentially that's what it is. Yeah, right? So maybe it's a cigarette air freshener. Awesome. All right, guys, as usual, on to the next one. It's kind of funny, it never fails. As the day winds on towards the end, it gets closer to when it's time to go home, cars start showing up, especially when you have stuff to do after work, and it's like, I gotta get home. What we got here is two cars that we have to get done. We have a Tahoe that we're gonna go ahead and do the Metro retrofit dash kit to put the double dent in, and we have a service that isn't here yet. It's not really a service, it's more of a 911 fix their screw up thing, so it's gonna be interesting. We've already filmed this one as far as how to put the radio in the dash, so what you're gonna see is probably a sped up version, maybe some tips and tricks along the way. So let's get to it. All right, so a quick change in plans on this one. This one actually has the amplifier. The amplifier is located here in the glove box. When it has the amplifier, you always want to test them to see if you can turn on the amplifier, because some of these, even though it has a turn-on wire, won't actually wake up the amplifier. And if that's the case, then you actually have to come over here and run your wires into the amp, which really sucks because that means he's not going to get his factory subwoofer, but it's blown anyway, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the standard harness that we need for behind the radio. We're going to go over and grab another one of these. This is the newer GM harness that we're going to have to repin and plug into this. So lots of fun. So to do this, we're going to need two harnesses. We're going to need an 1858, and we're going to need a 2003. We've already gone ahead and removed all the speaker wires out of the 1858, as well as all the power wires out of the 2003. Now all we need to do is finish removing all these speaker wires, because we need to move them into a different location. As this plugs in, our wires are on this side, so we're going to go ahead and depin these right now. All right, so we got all these out. We're gonna go over the car, rebuild this harness. All right, so grab the harness and go ahead and plug it in. We're gonna start on if the clip is on top like this, we're gonna start on the driver's side. The first two wires are dark green and a light green. The dark green is going to be gray with a black stripe, so we're gonna go ahead and put that into the first hole. And then the second one is gonna be gray. So next we have light blue, dark blue, And the light blue is going to be purple black, and the dark blue is going to be purple. And then we'll go ahead and put in our retaining clips on that one side, and those wires are set. We'll flip it over to the other side. So now our wires are going to be on the passenger side here, and we have a gray and a brown and a tan. That's going to be the driver's front. The gray is white black, so we'll go ahead and put the white black in, followed by the white. And then next to that we have a yellow and a brown. Yellow is going to be green black, followed by a green. We'll go ahead and put the body clip back in for that as well. All right, so now we have our harness all set and made up. We're just going to add some speed wire onto this and run it over into the dash. All right, so we have the harness all set and ready to go. And now what we did is we said we'd use speed wire, which is this thing right here. So any of you guys that aren't familiar with speed wires, we've talked about it before. It's this stuff right here. It is a 9-conductor wire that has a set of grays, a set of whites, purples, and greens, as well as a remote turn on. This is great for doing stuff like this and or adding 4-channel amplifiers. Now what we want to do is go ahead and get this plugged in behind the glove box, this behind the radio, build the dash. Alright, so we went ahead and plugged it in, ran it all along here, brought it up into the dash. The easiest thing to do is just to remove this so you can get your hand up behind there. Snap that back in place. Now Fernando is ready to install the radio. Like I said, I'm going to go build the dash kit real quick. Now the kit comes with a bunch of these little clips. What you want to do is before you actually slide them onto the plastics, go ahead and pinch them closed because they come open and they're open just a little bit too much. The other thing too is before you put these onto the dash kit, go ahead and test fit it on. Make sure that it snaps on right. Otherwise you could lose some of these or it's just a pain. So make sure you test fit it first, then put these on. Alright, one other tip is when you're putting these things, don't just smash this on there. Make sure these line up with the holes. Sometimes you gotta wiggle it around a little bit to get those into the right holes, then gently push this on. Let's get this to Fernando so he can put it in.
Good, on to the next one.
Nothing makes an installer feel like the pit of his stomach just go except when you see this. This is one of those things. Let me show you. When you get a car that comes in with just a hole and a wiring harness just going into the abyss that is the dash.
Got there.
And seeing these things here, what the hell? It's one of those things.
Surgery.
All right, well anyways, we're gonna get this dash apart, figure out what the heck's going on, figure out what we need to do.
Everything is fucking falling apart.
Random drywall screw. This is the factory amplified plug. So somewhere in here is the other amplifier.
What about right there?
Hold on. What about right where? Ah! Give me a tone generator. That's what I was afraid of. Is that the, what speaker is that?
Driver.
I got nothing coming out of the fronts. I guess we gotta pull the kick panels now. Hang on. I think we just need to pull the doors.
Huh?
I said I think we just need to pull the doors.
Why?
Well, because they got these wires ran into the doors.
Yeah, right here.
So we'd probably just need to pull the doors and connect it to the factory, or pull that wire and connect it behind the radio. Alright, so we have a missing factory amplifier here. There was some kind of amplifier underneath here that had a right and a left speaker run to it, which are these guys right here going into the door. He's got another one over there. There's these RCAs up here in the dash that need to come out. All right, so we're gonna go with a new dash kit on this one because he's just got this dash and some parts. And so we're gonna do the BK TOY K966 Best Kits dash kit. It's got all the brackets attached to it. We're also gonna use a wiring harness because they didn't have one in there. All right, radio's in and mounted. All right, so what we've gone ahead and done here is we have 2 speaker wires that are gonna be run for the front doors, and then we have to run 2 speaker wires back to the factory amplifier so that we can plug in and make the rear speakers work. Let's go ahead and get this into the car. Now, of course, we just have 4 basic random wires. There's no like stripe or anything like that. So we're gonna have to polarity test them to see which one's which. Here. Now we'll grab a Sharpie and go ahead and mark these just in case we ever have to take them off again. All right, so we have everything wired up. So now we can go ahead and get the radio back into the dash. All right, we got sound. That's awesome. Let's get this dash back together. So we pulled on an 8-gauge power wire that was just ran in the car with a distribution. Did you grab the distribution block out from behind the seat? There's a D block behind that seat. We'll get that out too. Anyways, they had a circuit breaker, so it was all still alive. We pulled out a bunch of old RCAs they weren't using. We reran the existing speaker wire for the front 2 speakers into behind the radio, and then we ran 2 new speaker wires back to where the factory amplifier was. Yeah, so it's all done. It's working. Rescued. You excited, Fernando?
I'm excited.
Knew you would be. All right, guys. On to the next one.